Hi everyone, this is Amelie again. So today we are going to film a video with one of my friends, and we are at the North Boys coffee shop. This is my first time here, so let's see what they have. Come on, let's go.
We are in a place called North Boys. It's a very great place actually, and when you are inside, you feel like home. Like it's no coffee shop vibe, but more on like a dining place or just a place in the house where you could sit and be relaxed.
Okay, so today I'm here with my friend Patrick. So I will let him introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name is Patrick. I am originally from the Philippines, but I've been working here in Thailand for almost 2 decades now. I'm working here as an English teacher, and it's so great to be staying here because it's almost home. So this is actually my second home. I'm 38 years old now. I've got siblings, and actually 2 of them are here in Bangkok too. So, it seems that Bangkok or Thailand is a family affair for us.
Okay, so can you tell everyone how we met?
Well, it's just so interesting how we met. It's just that I'm into fitness right now. I am into running, and just so happened that Amelia was also there. We both are very, introverted. We were just at the corner, and suddenly we approached each other and we got to talk with each other. And interestingly, we've got some interesting things that we both like. So that's how we started, being together for almost every Sundays while she's here.
And what's also ironic is that I'm not a runner at all. If you had told me a month ago that I would be in a running club, I wouldn't have believed you. So this is funny that now I'm making friends at a running club. But yeah, this is thanks to, I don't know if we can say their name, I guess so, but thanks to the Sabai Running Club, because it's a really good club. Everyone is really nice, so you guys should join if you're in Bangkok. Okay, so before we get to the subject, should we present what we have here?
What I'm having right now is an orange coffee. Yeah, this may not be my first time to have this, but it looks so interesting. So yeah, I'm excited to have a try. How about you? What do you have there?
I have I ordered the dirty. So it's coffee with condensed milk. This is my first time trying it. I ordered also a red velvet cookie. So yeah, I will have a bite of this. But first, should we go back to why we're here? The very first conversation we had was about grief.
Mm-hmm.
It started because so we were talking about where we are both from, and you said that you had been in Thailand for 16 years.
Yeah.
3 months and 16 years.
That's interesting.
But so yeah, that was one of our first conversation, and then I asked you if you ever missed going home, because I think it's been 5 years, right?
Oh yeah, 5 years, almost 5 years now.
Okay, yeah, and you told me tell me if I'm wrong. You told me that one of the reasons why you didn't go back home for such a long time was because the last time you were there, you lost your mother.
Yeah, exactly. Back then, before pandemic, I regularly, go home almost twice a year, at least, or once a year. But yeah, we talked about it. There's a sudden change because I lost my mom during the pandemic, and I'm never gone back home since then because I was so taunted with the idea that it's different now when I go back home, not with her there in my house, and things has changed. So I thought for the past years, I thought that it's really different being there right now. But just this year, when I had a detour, like go somewhere else instead of going home, it made me realize that, I should not be hooked with the past. Like I know it's different now going back home without mom and things have changed, but traveling actually made me realize that we should learn how to leave the past. Let's learn from the past, but let's not be like hooked with it, and we'll be able to really try to move on, as what most people will tell us. So it's part of my grieving back then to not be back home, but now my perspective about this has changed. And yeah, I can't wait to be back home next year, next summer. That would be in March and April. So being away from home is a different way of accepting your loss. Ever it gives you better understanding of things like this. So that's what happened. That's why I was not able to go back home for almost 5 years.
And I feel like one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video with you is because I really appreciate your sincerity, because this was the first time we met, and I felt like, to put a bit of context, I lost my brother 2 years ago, and no, it's okay. But yeah, the thing is, I feel like grief is something that people don't talk about a lot. So for you to bring that up immediately, because you could have lied. We didn't know each other. You could have told me, "Oh no, I just don't want to go back home," but you just told me the truth, and it's a big process. So
it is. That's why I believe that this is one of the indicators that the person has moved on to something dark or bad experience that he or she has, when they were able to talk about it. Because when it happened and it's so difficult to really deal with it, you get rid of talking about this topic. But yeah, when we had our conversation, because you asked me why I'm here and never gone back home for that long, so I was just trying to be honest. Or if you have asked me years ago, perhaps 4 years, 3 years ago, I could have answered you differently. But this time, because I have processed it already, the death of my mom and my older brother, actually, almost the same time that I lost them, I could have answered you in a different answer, But this time, because again, I have moved on with that situation, I could talk about it, and that's a way of, telling everybody, and even to myself, that I'm gone to that situation where when it was too difficult to accept. But now, I have the acceptance, and I'm always a big believer of, everything happens for a reason. So that made me who I am right now because of those experiences.
yeah, and I think it's so interesting, what you said about it being like an indicator, because I didn't realize that, and I was about to tell you, oh, that makes me realize we're not on the same stage of grief, because I felt like for me, when people, they don't really ask about it, because most people that who are in my life right now didn't know my brother. Because he left home to go live in mainland France when I was 14 years old. So when something comes up around this topic and I need to answer, I used to not feel comfortable doing it, because I don't know why. It's someone I know really well. I can talk about it a little bit, but if it's a stranger, I feel like I'm going to cry. But the thing is, when you said that, I realized that only since I've arrived in Bangkok that I've been able to talk about it more.
Oh, interesting. Again, good to know that somehow you're able to open up with me. Because I know it could have been different when you talked about this matter with people whom you know for a long time, you've known for a long time. However, for me too, sometimes talking to strangers is way better than talking with others that you've known each other for quite some time. So, because like for me, talking with strangers about your perhaps your hardships or your circumstances that you've experienced, you felt like these people do not have judgment, right? We have this feeling of comfortability. And yeah, though in fairness with other friends that I know, they've been sincere though. But yeah, that's the comfort that I usually get from talking with strangers, just like us. We just met that time, and then we talked about Bangkok and all of the reasons why we are all here. And yeah, there's no judgment. That's why I was comfortable talking about it. Not because I am an open book. Of course, I just only choose those people that I could talk with in certain level with different boundaries. But because of our conversation, I felt like this person could be trusted. So yeah, it's great.
And I feel like this is one of the reasons why I travel so much. It's because I can always reinvent myself, and there is this judgment free space.
Exactly.
Because sometimes it's just like you said, when you have known people for too long, they have this idea of you. So they're holding on to that. So it's hard to not experience life with them, but it's hard for them to accept sometimes that you're evolving into something else.
That actually happened to me when I experienced all of this. No, because grieving could be experienced differently, from different people. Because when I lost my loved ones, it was, and to be completely honest, I was not as sad or as bad as I was after 2 years. Then when I realized all of this, because during the time that it happened, I was so comforted with the people around me, people from that I work with, people from my church, people from my family members. They are so comforting. But after that, when everything sank in and realized that it's never be the same again, that's when I started feel the grief. And it's just so great that I was able to travel, and I thought that what I had was very devastating. What I thought was the life I had was very miserable. But because of traveling and see people in a different perspective, in a very different situation, it made me realize that my life right now is someone else's dream. When I saw the different experiences of other people that I met around, or even I saw during my travels, I then realized that I'm still blessed beyond measure. Why would I complain? So seeing all of this with the different faces of people, I then realized that no, it's not because I don't want to recognize the feeling of being sad. It's not about that, but that's because I have to recognize that too. I don't want to discredit myself being sad. However, when I saw these things happening from other people's life, I then realized that I'm still, blessed, and I should be grateful about.
And also, you were talking about this, but I felt like for me,
How is it?
it's been hard to realize how personal and individual grief is.
Yeah.
Because you said, you were comforted by the people that you have always known, but I feel like it's not that it has been the opposite for me, but it's just that sometimes it felt like, and it still feels like, there's no space for my own grief, because I lost my brother, but I have 2 other siblings, so they also lost a brother. And then my mom and my dad, they lost their kid, and I felt like sometimes I needed to be a comfort for them, and so there wasn't really space for me to feel what I was feeling. So I don't know how was it for you exactly?
Well, that actually happened to me because the process for me was a bit different and kind of difficult because in our family, they expected me to be the strongest one. You know, they expected me to be perhaps like, let's say, prayerful, you know, very religious. And they thought that what happened is actually something that's too easy for me to deal with. And I had to, you know, like to live with their expectations. Like, instead of being sad or, you know, being devastated with what happened, I tried to project what other people expected me to react. That's why during the first few years after their death, I felt like I was strong. I just did that, or I projected that one because that's how people thought about me. But when I was on my own, when I realized that I was just too weak, then I realized. Then I felt, you know, the sadness, the deep loneliness, and yeah, it's good to always recognize those feelings, or else it will just, you know, like,
Come back.
yeah. So it's so difficult to deal with.
And also, like, I feel like for me, okay, so I don't think I told you about this, but actually, I lost my brother because he killed himself. So
Sorry, that's
no. But like, the thing is that, okay, so there was like this expectation first of, like you said, like kind of being the strong link in the family, like to be there for everyone, because like it's not that it's not as bad to lose a brother rather than like a child. But I feel like for like the generations above, like my parents, my grandparents, and whatever, it was really hard on them. And the thing is, you don't expect to lose someone who was born after you, you know?
yeah.
So there was this thing where like I needed to be strong for them because of that. And then there was also the thing that people needed explanations. Because like, yeah, like when someone decides to take their own life, people don't usually understand why. Because it's a choice that they made. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people wanting me to answer that question, but then it's like, do you really think, like, if I had known that I wouldn't have done anything? But still, yeah, I don't know. People kept turning to me to try to answer the why, but I just don't know. And
Yeah, it's always so difficult to deal with that, especially with your situation. Like, well, I'm so sorry about what really had happened with your brother, but yeah, I do agree with you that it's so difficult to be the source of strength to other people, especially the members of your family, because perhaps we do not really have the same, you know, amount of pain that we experience, because sometimes it depends with our relationship with those loved ones passed away, or how the relationship, you know, your dynamics. But one thing for sure, it's something that is very difficult to deal with. In a way, we need to make sure that you have to fix yourself first, and you made yourself even strong before be the source of strength to others. You know what I mean? Because like, as what they said, you can never give what you don't have.
yeah,
So if people think that they could get strength from you, so make sure that you are strong enough to really give that strength to others in comforting them, or else that would overwhelm you. You know, like, instead of, you know, becoming a strong person, it could be the other way around, because the weakness that they are feeling and the strength that they're expecting from you to give to them would make you even weaker and weaker. And we'll never know. Something even worse would happen to you.
Okay, so I also wanted to ask you because I feel like the way people deal with grief is also like very cultural. Like it depends on where you live, where you're from. So I wanted to ask you, like, what does it look like in the Philippines to experience grief, but also like death in general?
Oh, that's a good question though. But before I'm going to answer that, isn't it amazing that we both are wearing black today? We did not talk about this, and now we're talking about grieving and all. So anyway, what an incident. But yeah, I would say that death in general in our country is a very complex topic to talk with, to talk about. Our country, a majority of our people of the Philippines are Catholic, and like November 1st would always be a great time for reunion, not in house, in our houses, but the cemetery to visit our departed loved ones. So that's another significant event that we have, and it's very big. It's always a big holiday where people from working in major cities would go back to the provinces to visit the departed loved ones, their grave. However, in our family, it's we have different belief though, and to be completely honest, death for us is, of course, it's a sad event, for sure. Not because you wanted that person to be back to your presence, but because you would be missing the time that you were together. The happy moments that you have, the life that you shared together. However, at least in our family, it's giving us hope. It's always, that for us is always a hope that, if you're a Christian, or if, whatever the religion that we believe in, but for us, like, it's a hope that one day soon you will be reunited with your departed loved ones. And instead of grieving, for sure, like, again, we recognize the grieving period, but more than that is we are hopeful that that day would come where we could be reunited again. And that's something that we look forward to. That's why personally I've been working on with how to be a person that my mom wants me to be, so that someday soon, not because I want to kill myself and be with her. No, not that idea. But the time where we could be reunited again, we would be able to really talk. Be very happy that we both, we did well. Living the time that was given to us, and living the life that was given to us. That's how we perceive in our family. And just so funny because I've experienced it back then when my grandparents died, and in our family it's different because it became a reunion. People from other places would come, and you cannot really feel the crying and all the whole time while we have the funeral services. But then other people, maybe from our neighbors would say why your family seems not really too sad about the situation, because normally people would really be sad, and you are even, prohibited to smile or to laugh while you are in the presence of, while you are in the place where the death body was there, like that. But in our family, it's different. It became a reunion and a grand event, because that's how we perceive about death. We just thought that person is just physically sleeping, and be awake someday soon, if that time would come. So it's a different acceptance, and that's actually I realized, when I lost my loved ones, and it's just that you were just missing the time that you were together. You're just missing the time that you laughed together, perhaps the wonderful times that you're together. That's what just you are missing. But the idea that you want them to come back, no, it's not about that. It's about missing the time, the moments you were together.
I feel like it's a very similar experience to like where I'm from or to my family, because like you said, there is this thing where you're supposed to look sad, but in my family, like for example, I also lost one of my aunts recently, and when we were at the wake, at some point like we were like some of my cousins and some of my aunts, we were like around like my aunt's body, and we just started laughing so much.
I know the feeling. And the traditional people would say, "Hey, why are you laughing?"
Yeah. And like one of my aunts, she was like, "Come on, like we need to stop because people are going to start asking questions." But like you said, it's also like about remembering like all of the good times that you had together.
Exactly.
So I don't know, we were just making jokes and everything, but yeah, it feels kind of the same. Like I also grew up like in a Christian household, and so I guess it works the same. I also don't know if it's the same for you, but like I recently learned that apparently it's not super Christian to do a cremation. I didn't know that before. But I knew that because of my aunt's death, because she was super religious and everyone was talking about, like, I think she wants to be buried or whatever. And then my cousins were like, no. Like but like, this was surprising because like I said, she was super religious, but then she was like, no, like, I don't want my body to just like lay in the ground, like with the worms and whatever. But yeah, and also I feel like when my brother died, I never thought about this before, but the thing is, it was so sudden that when it happened, my other brother had to kind of take care of everything. And so, like you have to sign papers. They ask you, do you want this or that or whatever. And one of the things is so my brother died in mainland France. And with my siblings, we were all living there at the time. But
parents?
Huh?
Even your parents? Right?
No, not my parents.
Okay.
That's why. Like the thing is, my parents are still living in Réunion Island, and so my brother didn't know what to do, like how long to keep the body, because he didn't know like how long it would take my parents to come to mainland France. And so we ended up like choosing 5 days. But 5 days is long. It's very, very long. And I never experienced this before. But then like we just had to keep coming every day and see his body every day. And that felt like too much. That felt like we were keeping him from just going. And so there was like this question of okay, so what's next? Like, are we going to bury his body? Are we going to do a cremation? But then, I feel like that was the obvious choice to do a cremation. Yeah, because I don't know, there was kind of this realization of like, this is just a body. Because we saw his dead body like so much for a week that we were like, no, come on. We need to let his soul go. But yeah, and I don't know what you think about like if you believe in afterlife or whatever, but I feel like that's also like in my family this plays a big part because we're like more than being religious, we're very spiritual. So I was raised to believe that all of my loved ones who already died, they're just here, like somewhere around me, looking after me. So, I don't know how it is
Meditate.
for you.
Okay. Well, based on what I believe in and what we are also taught, it's this is a different way with what you have too, because like biblically it says like only our body is like sleeping, and even our soul was like sleeping, and we will all be awake when we believe, if we believe about Christ coming, second coming. That's the time when he's going to claim his, those good people, and that also motivates us to even do good. Not really do good because we want to be saved, but because but because we just want to do good and be in that place where he prepared as what we all believe, right? I mean, at least in our family we believe. So that's the truth that we are living as a family. So and that is something that we look forward to, when we are going to meet that day to come. So that's how it is. But talking about cremation in our country, it's so funny because as much as people would like to have it, but it's like freaking expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the cremation in our country is very, very expensive. That's why we only bury dead bodies. So we do cremation though, but first it's very expensive, or sometimes cost of death. When the person is having whatever sickness or disease that needed to be cremated. That's how it is. But compare here in Thailand, that most dead people would always do cremation, and only Christians would have buried.
Do you know why?
That's a good question though. Yeah.
Because I think I saw it in the media that like you said, they mostly do cremation.
Yeah,
but
that's
I
fine.
never-
No, we should learn about that now. Like whenever, later, that's how they do it here. So like they would always do it in a temple. They have crematory there, and they could easily have it there. Maybe we'll search about it.
I feel like okay, so we're not alone in this cafe, and there are a lot of Thai people. So I feel like there might be someone who will be able to answer. Yeah. Okay, so I was wondering like why in Thailand most people when they die they do a cremation instead of burying the body.
But actually, it's different. If you are Thai Chinese, you still have the symmetry, or you are Christian in Thai, or even you are Muslim.
Okay.
But in Thai traditional, we love to cremate, to send them to the heaven. Like in the north, they also do that. Also, like Buddhism, kind of like that. Because it become ashes and then go somewhere else.
Okay, so it's linked to religion then.
Religions, yes.
Okay, so like for Buddhists, it's about like letting the soul go.
Yeah, kind of. But in the north also, like if you are royal family in the north, so they built kind of sculpture that make like a building, so you go with that to heaven. Yeah, so like that. But actually cremation is like, I've been to a lot of funerals, and so my parents died, so I feel like second I organize it all. So the period is like you watch them since like the ceremony to like that is the body. They really died, and then they go to the cremations, then become ashes. They force you to wash the ashes also, and then just collect the thing that you want, and then keep it. Or you can go like to the river, to the mountain, or the tree.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you can spread the ashes wherever you want.
anywhere. Or just keep in the temple. Like because if in the temple the monk will chanting, do merit every day, so they kind of get I get something from that.
Okay. Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, thank you. So one other thing I wanted to ask you is like, so I knew about your mother, but I didn't even know about your brother. So, like, first of all, like, were you close to both of them? And then, like, in general, in your life, what has been your biggest loss?
Okay. Yeah, maybe I have not discussed it with you and share it with you. The time when my mother died is actually almost the same time when my older brother also died. So I knew that they were dying, because like my mom was in the hospital for almost a month already, and she had stage 4 lung cancer, and yeah, that time was pandemic, so I could not get a flight going back home. So though like I've been asking her to, for me to go home, and they said, no, you have nothing to do. There's no point for you to come back home because my situation is terminal. Like even if you're here, it would not make me, like keep living. That idea. So like, and my prayer that time was just, Lord, not on my birthday, because like that was March, and then like I know that they are different situations. So like I said like not on my birthday, because at least I will not remember my birthday as also my mom's death anniversary. So good enough. Like after 2 days, my older brother had a cardiac arrest, and he died on the 25th. Right after my birthday, the day after my birthday. And then 2 days after, my mom also died. But again, there was an acceptance because I knew that they're dying. I knew that, their situation. And again, there was an acceptance. So, is it a big loss? Yet it is. Anyway, the mom that I'm talking about is not really my biological mom. She's my a foster mom. I grew up with her, and she is the younger sister of my real dad. Okay. So I grew up with them since I was 3 weeks old. Since like really baby. So like they are the family that that I grew up with. And the brother that I lost is my biological brother. So like good thing like I know both of the families because I was also introduced to my real family too. Okay. It's just that I grew up in the other family.
Okay, so you didn't grow up with your brother?
With my brother. That's why it's one thing that I also felt bad of losing my biological, because he's the second one who died from my biological family. Like people would just think like, oh, he's not actually very affected because he never grew up with them. Like that was a tough comment that I got from people I know, because like you are not as affected as your younger brother who was here with you because he grew up with your brother, but for you, never had experience. But you cannot judge. I have also a relationship with them. But anyway, yeah, I brush it off. But with just my mom, it's something like difficult on my part because every time I go back home, she and the days or months that I am home, I would always stay at home, and with her, perhaps reading, playing the musical instrument. So we had a lot of activities together, and now it's different. Just that's the only thing that I had the difficulty to deal with. Being home without her. But again, it's not something that I want her to be back because I have nothing to do with that. It's just like we missed, as I mentioned a while ago, we just missed the time that we were together. So that's one of the difficult situations that I had. But other than that, I'm fine.
About your relationship with your brother, it kind of like reminds me of something. It's like okay, so like I said, I have 3 siblings, but like my eldest brother who died, I was never really close to him. But I feel like he was never really close to anyone. he had a really hard time connecting with people, and I feel like he mostly had a really hard time like feeling understood. But that's something I realized like after he died. But the thing is, so I was like my entire life I was super close to my other brother and my sister. So I was talking.
Not with him, right?
No, not with him. So I was talking about them a lot, and like either like before he died or after he died, some people asked me, "Oh, but isn't he like your half brother?" And I was like, "No," and I felt really guilty because I was like, "Oh, is it to a point where you you think something else might have made us like not close?"
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just a thought. Like people kept asking me if it wasn't my half brother, and I was like, "Oh, maybe I should like talk a little bit more about him," or I don't know. But
Yeah, that's one of the things that I also, realized. Because first, death is inevitable. This is something that we cannot really control. That's why, I mean, the lesson I've learned, which is, I know this is so cliche to talk about, but it really is true. When you are with your loved ones, perhaps your family members, your parents who are still alive, they would always say like spend time with them and all of this, which is really true. Like because especially for me, I lived abroad almost half my life, so I even spent more time here in Thailand than being with them because back then when I was studying, I was also in somewhere else. So. It's so cliche to say that spend time with them. Indeed, like even now, like especially this time, there's another way of spending time with them. Even if we are physically away, but we have the devices. You have the technology where we could get connected with them. Never even take that away from them. Especially talking, updating every single day, and letting them know. How they're feeling. Like to be completely honest with my biological parents, we are not as close as that I am with my foster family because I never grew up with them. Maybe I would just go to the place to visit, pay a visit for summer break, school breaks, but not really grow up with them. But now, of course, I see that they are my real family. I mean, they are my biological family. So I still have to put the respect, and recognition to them. So yeah, I regularly talk. I regularly update. I know like it's kind of cringy because I'm not used to really, express my feeling, like telling them I love you or what, because of the distance that we had back then. But it somehow made me realize that I should do that. I should do that. And I know that in their part, especially my parents, they felt guilty of, having me grew up in the other family. But they actually expressed, let me know about how they regretted it. And it is something that they could not deal, they could not handle well during that time, which they never even, like, it's something that, we should not talk about, but at least we were able to really patch things up. And this time, I really made sure that I would let them know about how I feel towards them. I would let them know, about my situation here too, letting them, and so with their situation too. So it feels better. Yeah, again, like, we may not be physically together, but we have technology or we have some means where we will be able to still get connected. And it's a great help.
I feel like this is also like not really a lesson I've learned from it, but more of like a regret. Where where I was like, oh, I feel like I should have talked to him more, especially because I feel like now in retrospective, well, it's not that we could have guessed, but there were signs that something was coming, because he felt free like a few months before leaving. Like, I went to visit him, and like I said, we were never really close, but my mom came to visit him first, and they used to have like a really, really bad relationship. and she told me, "Oh my God, Amelie, you need to go see your brother. Like he has changed so much. Like he is so kind now. Like you should give it a try and just go visit him." Yeah, and so I did, and I really saw it. Like I feel like it was the first time that he was really giving me a gift, because he gave me it's just a board game, and he gave me gifts before, but it didn't feel like it came from the heart. But this time when I went to visit him, like we hung out a lot, we did a lot of different things, and like it was the first time he tried to teach me something. Like he taught me how to play pool. And yeah, so I feel like
You had a great time before
yeah, I feel like this was like the really first time that we truly like bonded.
Spend time.
Yeah. And so yeah, like one night we went to a game board bar type of thing, and then we played this game. And the day I was supposed to leave, he gifted this to me.
Wow, that's the sweetest.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like there were signs that things were different, but I didn't realize that it was like, oh, now that he finally feels free, he's ready to go.
Yeah, I know that it was really a difficult situation on your part. I mean, in your family's part, but I'm just happy that even before he departed, you really spent time. Something that you less expected for sure because of your dynamics, your relationship back then. But yeah, it's just so great that never miss the chances, because if that happened and you were still hard on yourself, not meeting him, it could be a different feeling right now with with your time after what had happened. But because you spent quality time, it may not be a long time with good times with him, good memories with him, then it could have been different, right? It's wonderful to know about it.
Yeah. And well, I was saying that also because then I felt like I regretted like not spending more time with him, because I felt like I really missed out on something. And it wasn't that he didn't want to be close to us, it's just that he didn't know how. And so like since then I've been thinking a lot about this, and sometimes I feel like I should like just break down like all of my walls and let people in more. But I feel like I feel like this is going to maybe be the last part of this video, but yeah, I feel like the greatest lesson I've learned from this is that I don't want to do the same thing as my brother, meaning that when he left, he only left 2 letters or 2 messages, one to my mom and one to his ex-girlfriend. And when I read the one to his ex-girlfriend, I realized that we were kind of the same, because we were pushing people away, thinking that they didn't love us or that we weren't worthy of love. And so that like just made this cycle of I feel like I'm not worthy of your love, so I'm pushing you away, so then you can't be close to me and love me like to the fullest and whatever. So I feel like this was the biggest lesson, but I feel like now it's easier on my new relationships because it's just a fresh start. Like I've never known like those people before, so it's like from the start I'm willing to I don't just give away my trust, but I'm still willing to be like, okay, if I'm going to try to make this friendship work or whatever, I need to be fully in and like to let people love me unconditionally. Yeah, and do the same.
Yeah.
But the people who have always been in my life, it's hard. It's really hard to break the habits. And for example, like you were talking about family, and I feel like I really love my family, but sometimes they can be like really toxic.
Yeah.
So I'm trying, but I don't know. I'm just scared that one day I will regret this again, like not sharing more with them. But at the same time, it's like when I'm trying, it fires back. So I don't know how to deal with that, but yeah.
And for me, my lesson. Yeah, well, in response to what you have mentioned about family, like I know it's a process. It will not happen in just a click. That is something that would work out in due time. It takes time. That's one thing for sure. But what I realize right now after our talks, what happened to your brother and to our family, it is actually very important to all who are watching right now. It's really important that we should be very hypersensitive to what other people is really going on. Our simple "How are you?" is really a big help. Like I know for some people it's just like a greeting. It's just like one of the greetings that just to start the conversation. But also how it is like when you are sincere and you really wanted to know the condition of certain person. After all of this, especially pandemic, after all of this hardships that people have experienced this past few years, personally, it is my blissful desire to really reach out to people, even to those friends I have on Facebook. Every time I see them with their profile picture on black, and even this person that I never even talked for a while or even never messaged them, I would literally ask them how are they, and yeah, several times I could not count anymore. These people who really had a difficult life, who called me and even talked with me for hours that I never talked in the past, and just listen to them. It's really a help. It's really a big help. So never really underestimate your "how are you" to other people, and because these people really need a listening ear. They need someone who could listen to them, and even actually they don't need your words. They don't really need your words, because no matter whatever you wanted to tell them, it would just fall on their deaf ears. What they really need to have is someone who could listen to them. So, and that's what I've learned this past few years. And I tell you, I even went to Kuala Lumpur to visit a person who has suicidal tendency because of the hardship that he has, and just for me to see personally how he is. And yeah, even talk to a university student who had attempted suicide several times already, and she thought that no one could understand her, and even family and teachers and instructors, people in his community, no one. But for me, somewhere else that we met, and got to talk. So it's very comforting. So never really miss the chance where you could really be a comfort to other people. Your simple "how are you" means a lot. And be ready, be tougher than you think you are, because these people really need your strength. These people really need your help. So it may be very cliche to say that be a help to them, but really these people really needing help. And sometimes I know that this time people would talk always about mental health disorder, this situation, but indeed it is real. I thought that it was a joke back then. I thought back then it was just, oh, you're just tired, you have to sleep, or you just need to pray. That's how people really. But me personally, when it happened to me, I said it's real. Depression is really real and so difficult to deal with. And I did not even, expected that it happened to me. But when it happened to me, it's real. And good thing that I was able to really overcome this. And that's why for me personally, I would like to be of help to those who are really in this situation. So, I am an introverted person. I am not the person who would really hey, let's talk. How are you? I am not that kind of person. But I really see to it that I could have a really good and quality talk, especially to those people who needs it. So, you never know. People may it be strangers, maybe your casual friend, maybe your close friend, even family members. it's important that you would really know how are they, and be a, someone who could listen to them. Again, they don't need your words. The words that you are going to tell them would just be very useless. But when they rant, when they talk and complain about life and their experiences, just listen to them. Just listen to them, and you never know what comfort that they are getting from you, from listening to them. So it's really important.
And yeah, like to conclude, I also feel like sometimes we don't dare to reach out to people because we're scared of rejection. But it's like, just try it. Because I'm scared of rejection too. But you don't have that much to lose in the end. And like you said, like you could be of great help. And also, like if you need help, I feel like you'll always find a way to find your people in this life. Like they always come to you somehow. They know you. Your souls know each other.
And I have also an additional from that. Like, again, based on my experience, I could not easily open up to someone who knows me well, someone who I know. Never even hesitate to reach out to others, even to strangers, especially to strangers, because like as I've said a while ago, these people have no judgment about you. Whatever you say, when you open up, you could directly open your book and let them read about it, and you will never worry if they would judge you. So these people have no judgment. So if you think that they are be a good help for you to open up, to speak up, whatever you've been through or you are getting through right now, please don't hesitate to do that, because there would always be someone there for you. Never lose hope.
Well, thank you for coming here today and for talking about this kind of difficult subject. I feel like
it's actually very heavy.
Yeah. And we did this in like a cutesy cafe type of thing. Yeah, the sun is going down. Like you can't even see us anymore. I think. But yeah, well, thank you so much for sharing.
It's always a privilege.
And yeah, like we said before, don't be scared to reach out. This video is going on YouTube, so I know I'm not a therapist, but I'm here to listen anyway. So if you ever need someone to listen, please, don't be scared to put a comment or whatever, or just message me, whatever. But yeah, whoever you trust in this life, don't be scared to reach out, even if it's strangers, like you said. And I hope this video will help. I hope it will open conversations on this matter.
Yeah.
And thanks to everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye bye. สวัสดีค่ะ